Welcome, everybody. Negotiations went really well this year, even though we had to take quite a long hiatus to figure out what was going on with the legislature. Nothing new there. Some things I wanted to go over with you. We had a really great session with the board. Really doing a lot of cleanup in the letters of understanding, moving a lot of that stuff into the main agreement, kind of cleaning up the agreement a little bit, but also some pretty good changes on the salary side as well. So we moved a lot of stuff from the letters of understanding, or LOUs, to the main agreement. One of those is a length contract. This is what we've been working under for the last, I don't even know how many years anymore. We've been using this for a long time, so we just moved this over into the main agreement. So there's nothing really new there. It's just we switched it over to the main agreement. Same thing with the prep time, release time overload. This is what we developed with the SSRC. It seems to be working pretty well. We can still, tweak things as we need to, but we're trying to clean up some of that LOU side of it and shorten that up. And so things seem to be going pretty well with the SSRC language that we put in. So we just went ahead and moved that into the main agreement as well. Same thing with teacher due process. Until the legislature comes back and does a restoration, we recognize that may be a while. Politically, Kansas is just in that position. So now, a new thing that came in, and this was proposed by the board. You're going to want to hit pause, read through this, because I'm not going to read it to you. Hit pause, read this, and then we'll come back to the next page. Now, the rationale for this language, basically, what it says is that if you can have another teacher cover your class for an hour, you can be out of the building, and get that taken care of, and that time will not be charged to your sick leave or your personal time. You just have to have somebody cover your class for you. You have to arrange it. Just make sure your principal knows that that's being arranged, or your office and your building knows that's what's happening. So keep them in the loop. But just as long as that teacher that's covering your class doesn't put in for subpay, it's not going to get charged to your time, your sick leave, or your personal leave. The key thing is keep it to an hour, and you just have to make sure that you take care of getting another teacher to cover for you. I think it's safe to say that in most of our buildings we have enough collegiality amongst ourselves that we can talk to the person who's on plan time, who has some plan time during the time that we need to be gone. They can cover for us for an hour, because eventually they're going to need that time as well, and we should be able to say, hey, you know what, next time you need that, I'll be willing to come down and we'll take care of that for you. We can take care of each other that way. This is a great sign of trust from the board. It's also, this gives you some flexibility and the ability to not burn up a bunch of sick or personal leave for something that takes an hour. So with strategic, if you schedule things strategically, you can get a lot done with this without being charged your sick or personal time on that. Now, length of contract, we did make some additions for pre-K. Our pre-K program really hasn't been addressed in the negotiated agreement. So there's some things that they do that are just different than a kindergarten through 6th grade, even though most of their stuff kind of mirrors the elementary schedule. They do have some things that are unique to pre-K. One of those things that was addressed here is home visits, and so we've outlined some time for those home visits specifically, and added pre-K into some of the language that addresses their unique needs. Again, in the future, as we run across more of those things that are unique to pre-K, and we can make changes to those if we need to. We can negotiate some changes in those if we need. But we really need to address. We needed to address what was happening with the pre-K, and do some things specific for them. Now, payment for unused sick leave. Now, I know a lot of people have talked about this over the years, and so, and I'll be honest, I came up with an idea on this. I think it's going to be a benefit to everyone in the long run. The board was really happy with this. Seemed to be real happy with this proposal. I think it's a good proposal overall. So here's what it is. Instead of getting $15 per day, it's in blocks. If you have 85 to 90 days, you get paid $3,000. I believe it comes down to like $30-something a day. So essentially what it is, we've basically doubled it, but now it's a little easier to figure. So you know how many days you have, you know what your payout's going to be, and if you have less than 40 days of unused sick leave when you retire, then you know, and then it goes back to $15 per day. The board has recognized that this has been low for a long time, and they've wanted to do something. And so I was getting frustrated hearing from both sides that, you know, it was hard to do things. So I came up with this idea. The board really likes it. I think this is going to be beneficial for everybody. I think this is going to be a good way to start working toward taking care of that pay for unused sick leave. I think this is a good way to go. Now, we did allow the LOU on additional FTE to expire. Basically, the new formula that the legislature came up with has pretty much made this kind of a null section to need because of the way they're calculating headcount and some things like that. So we really didn't need this anymore. Now, as far as salary, here's how this breaks down. We got a really good deal from Blue Cross Blue Shield. Even though it took them forever to get to us, to give us our numbers, they gave us a 1.1% increase in our premium, which is really, really good. So again, district will pay for the single low option. It's the same coverage as before, so nothing has changed there. There will be some changes, some minor changes to coverages if you pay up for the lower deductibles. You will see that represented when you do open enrollment. Now, the supplemental base was increased by $2,000. So for all those people who have a supplemental contract, whether it's from coaching, whether it's student supervision outside of the classroom time, you know, clubs, those kind of things, we've increased the supplemental base by $2,000. So you should see a significant change in your supplemental pay. Now, as far as salary goes, you've got horizontal vertical movement, so all the movement associated with time and increase in college pay. And we've added $1,250 to the base. So our new base is $39,250. Now, I'm going to stress this. When we add money to the base, that affects everybody's salary. So everybody's salary just went up by $1,250 if we ratify this. That affects everybody. When you put money on the base, it affects every cell in the matrix. It's not just the base number, it's everybody's number. So everybody went up by $1,250. And then we have also new longevity language. I've been also trying to tweak this over the last few years, trying to figure out a way to make this something that's not chewing up a tremendous amount of our resources for salary. What this represents for salary is a 4.32% increase, so not too bad. Now, the new longevity language. What this comes down to is that we've added steps to the last two columns. And this will be a good time to hit pause and read through this. Now, what this essentially comes down to is that if you qualified for longevity, you will be placed at the salary point where you were closest, and you will start to receive your longevity as normal movement, as steps, as a normal movement steps, so vertical steps. What this does, though, is once you hit the bottom of those steps, that's it. There is no more after that. Ultimately, the longevity language, as it was written originally, a few years ago, was chewing up over $300,000 of money going towards salaries. That's more than vertical movement. So it was basically it was hurting everybody in the long run. The longevity language, as it was written originally, was hurting everyone. And so the immediate fix was to negotiate the amount of longevity. Well, that wasn't really good either, and so I developed this language to try to work on recognizing that we have people who are working longer and have advanced degrees who we should be, recognizing, but at the same time we can't be putting so much money toward that it's hurting everybody else in the salary pool. And so this was kind of a way to work that so it wasn't chewing up a lot of resources that were getting pulled from everyone else. So I know there will be a lot of questions with this. I don't have the way the matrix breaks down. I don't have that picture. I wish I did, but I don't have it at the time of this publication. So we'll have more on this when we do the vote and when we do open enrollment. There will be a piece on this as well for the longevity language. I'll have that available for the people sitting at the table for the longevity as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing an online vote again, so look for that coming out in your email. We will be voting to ratify through OPA Votes again. So again, this year, look for an email from OPA Votes, and that'll get us taken care of for our ratification. All right, hope everything was clear. If not, please feel free to ask questions, but make sure you've gone all the way through the video and really pay attention to what I've said in here. Read through everything, and that should take care of us. All right, guys, thank you, and look for that email to vote coming out.